Have you ever felt a loss so deep it felt like your entire world just ended? Well, in the Old Testament, there's a whole book dedicated to that exact feeling. Today, we're diving into the raw, powerful poems of the Book of Lamentations.
The title pretty much says it all, right? A lament isn't just feeling a little sad. Oh no, it's a passionate, almost primal expression of sorrow. The entire book is this unfiltered cry, giving a voice to a whole community that has lost literally everything.
You have to understand, this isn't just some ancient poetry. It's like a news report from the ashes. I mean, just try to imagine standing in the ruins of your home, your city, your whole world. That is the perspective of Lamentations. It's the story of a people trying to figure out how to go on after total devastation.
So what on earth could cause this kind of profound grief? To really get these poems, you have to understand the catastrophe that sparked them in the first place.
The year is 586 BCE. The Babylonian Empire, this absolute superpower, just rolls in and conquers the kingdom of Judah. And its capital, Jerusalem, it's not just captured, it is leveled, completely destroyed. This single event is the ground zero for every single word in this book. For the Israelites, this was so much more than a military loss. It was the end of their world as they knew it. The siege by the Babylonians brought horrible starvation and death. Their sacred temple, the very center of their faith, was burned to the ground, and anyone who survived was dragged off into exile. We're talking about suffering on a scale that's just hard to even imagine.
And it's out of that historical rubble that the emotional heart of the book rises, this raw, completely unfiltered outpouring of sorrow.
The book's very first poem just hammers home this stark before and after to show you the unbelievable scale of the loss. It even personifies Jerusalem as a grieving widow. She was once a proud queen, and now she's just abandoned, weeping in the ruins. It's not just describing a city, it's painting a portrait of a completely broken heart.
But, just describing the pain isn't enough for the writers. The poems bravely push deeper, asking the toughest question you can ask: why? And this leads to a really painful but totally necessary reckoning. This one question just echoes through every single line: why? The survivors aren't just trying to figure out the politics of it all. They are crying out to their God, desperately asking, how could you possibly let this happen to us?
And what's amazing is the answer the book gives. It turns inward. This isn't about blaming their enemies. It's this moment of brutal, unflinching self-honesty. The poems basically act as a confession, acknowledging that this destruction is seen as the direct result to the people breaking their covenant with God.
But just when the despair feels like it's going to swallow everything whole, the entire story pivots. This is not a book that's content to just end in darkness.
Right in the dead center of the most intense suffering, this voice of hope emerges. The book never pretends the pain isn't real, not for a second, but it absolutely refuses to let that pain have the final word. It's basically a masterclass in how to hold on to faith, even when you're surrounded by every reason to let it go.
So where does this hope even come from? Well, it's not some vague, fuzzy optimism. No, it's rooted in a really firm belief in God's unending mercy. It's a call to turn back to Him, to repent, and a deep, deep trust that even from these ashes, restoration is possible. It's all about rebuilding a broken relationship.
Okay, so how do these 5 poems actually work together to carry the reader from grief all the way to hope? Let's take a look at the book's brilliant structure and its lasting message.
The book's 5 poems really take you on an intentional journey. It starts with the shock of the city's destruction. Then it bravely confronts God's judgment. Right at its center, it finds that flicker of individual hope in the middle of all the suffering. And that then allows for a collective confession of sin, and finally, it all comes together in this united prayer for restoration. It's a carefully crafted path from brokenness to a plea for healing.
So ultimately, Lamentations does 2 things at once. It's this unflinching, honest look at suffering and its consequences. But at its core, it is a book about hope. It insists that even after total devastation, a new beginning is possible through faith and a sincere turning back to God. And that's exactly why this ancient text still feels so powerful today. It gives us language for our deepest griefs, while at the same time fiercely refusing to let go of hope. It leaves us all with a timeless challenge. In our own moments of loss, how do we hold that tension between our suffering and the hope for a new day?